you think? Like, how did you make the decision of having your own hardware instead of going for a cloud, which most of the startups do?
Well, yeah. So from the start, Mark wanted to build something which was independent of, at that time, Google. But we still want to be independent of big tech. So that was a fundamental decision to not rely on other people's services, which was perhaps a prescient one when you see what's happening with in other cases. But actually, it turns out it's actually this is one of the reasons we've been able to build Magic with a a relatively low level of capital investment, because it's actually turns out it's a lot cheaper to buy your own hardware. If I don't know, it might be interesting for us to do a calculation. But if Magic used Amazon from the start, we probably would have had to raise, I'm guessing, 5 times as much money as we have done. So we actually buy our servers. We own them, and that turns out to be a lot cheaper in the long run. Obviously, it does mean you needed a capital injection at the start, right? So you can't, So that's, but I guess the difference is with search is that you can't, if you're going to have a true search engine, then you've got to have some infrastructure. So you're going to have some capital outlay, or you're going to have to spend a lot of money on leasing equipment from Amazon or somebody. So you can't avoid that, a large spend there. So it's a bit of a different decision. But yeah, it's I guess the other reason. This is kind of surprising to most people in the startup world. It's like a bit of a surprise to me, I guess, when I learned about Magic as well, because I've worked with all sorts of startups and use those cloud services, and even worked on an infrastructure startup myself. But the other thing about search is you don't actually need really powerful servers to do search. So you don't, obviously, if you do, you don't need GPUs. You don't need really beefy servers. So actually, it's not as you don't need as much money as people tend to assume, or even I think there's been articles in the press about this, how expensive it is to build a search engine when it's not. I think it's a bit of a myth, perhaps spread by those who don't want to have rivals in the space.